Alright y'all, so I'm back home from being outside in the nightlife here in DC, and I just feel like I want to try to explain to y'all the vibes that be going on outside in the nightlife here in DC.
I'm about to talk to y'all about what it's like being in ZOOZ. ZOOZ is actually pretty lit, but it's just DC's club culture, bro. ZOOZ is lit, but DC's club culture just not it for me.
DC is, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, I don't want to say bad things because it's not like all bad, but I also don't want to say like a whole lot of good things. I don't want to convince y'all that everything's on a level that is not really on. But long story short, DC, the culture of the nightlife seems like it's lit. If you look at it from the outside looking in, it can kind of trick you into thinking that this is the spot. Especially like if you're in the neighboring states like Maryland and Virginia, you can feel like there's nothing going on. Or if you compare what's going on out here to what's going on in your local areas, it can feel like DC is the place to go. And I'll admit, DC can have some dope things. But tonight I was at ZOOZ. I went to an event that I saw online that said it was a 30 plus or 30s up party. And I was thinking, that idea, the concept of that sounds pretty cool. They made it where it was like limited tickets for men and women because they said they wanted to keep the ratio a certain way. And yes, the ratio for the most part was kind of balanced. It still felt like it was more men than women. Usually it's a lot more women than men, but tonight it just kind of felt like there was more men than women because it's like all the guys got there on time, but all the women like kind of came in waves. It was like the early crowd, then like the kind of medium, like just getting there medium, and then it was like the late crowd. But long story short, it just felt mid, like because everyone was dressed up. There was people mingling. Don't get it twisted. There was a lot of people who had a good time. There's still a lot of people having a good time right now. Yes, a lot of people do have a good time, but when you're from a place like where I'm from, I'm originally from Houston, Texas. So I have like a baseline standard of what I think a good time is. Like I think of people dancing, I think of people being in sections, popping bottles. I think of a certain type of culture that makes you feel like there's an event happening. And in DC, and tonight, how do I explain this? There was even-ish ratio, but I heard a lot of guys talking. See, I was sitting at the bar, I was smoking a hookah, I was chilling, I was relaxing, I was really just peeping the scene. And what I ultimately saw was there was a lot of guys there who were there to meet women. There was a lot of women there who was there to meet guys. And a lot of women felt ultimately like guys weren't there trying to speak to them. And I could see how you could possibly think as a woman that, oh, the guys, they're afraid to talk to us, or they think they're stuck up or whatever and all that stuff. But in reality, what I was really seeing is that a lot of guys just don't really feel motivated because they don't see nothing that really is moving them to want to like go out of their way to mingle with the women. It's kind of like you look around and you're like, this is kind of cool. But when you start to really pay attention, like when you really start to look around and look at faces, you look at physiques, you start looking at, dang, am I actually attracted to her? Or am I just like kind of in the club life and the lights are just making everything look good? And kind of ultimately that's what starts to happen. You start to realize that, you know, it's not really as good as it looks right now. Like I'm not really interested in anybody that I'm seeing. It seems like everyone's dressed up and they're dressed nice and everyone looks good for what they look, but it's like you don't really see any women there as a guy that you really just feel like, man, when I see her, like she's so beautiful that I just gotta say something to her. And what's crazy is I know that sounds really conceited and stuck up because, you know, shoot, it's not like all the guys there are models or anything like that themselves, or like they're all crazy in shape. But I feel like because of social media and because we all have our phones and we see all these super beautiful people, it's like we all have this idea, or it's like our standards. Everyone's standards are a lot higher, but it's like we have these crazy standards, but it doesn't really seem like people in real life are meeting the standards of what we see on social media. And it's like crazy because we don't have that, like, I don't know what that X factor is that women used to give us when we were younger that made you just be like, man, like if I don't talk to her, I feel like I missed out. But in reality, it's pretty rare as a guy in DC to feel like if you don't speak to this woman that you're gonna feel like you missed out. So before y'all start lighting up my comments, let me explain. So like you're basically at this like stalemate because women are like programmed to just kind of sit around and wait for you to say something to them because it worked for them when they were in their 20s. But it's like once you start hitting the 30 plus market, they're still kind of running the same game where they're waiting for guys to come up to them first and say something to them first. It does work for a few women, but it's like when you hit that 30 mark, the vibe and the feel for like feeling like you want to go out your way as a guy, it just don't really be hitting, or it don't really feel like it's there anymore. And I don't know what it is. Once again, I think it might be social media and everyone having standards that are way too high. And it's like we all have these unrealistic standards now. And so in reality, it's like we really need to all probably dial down what we are looking for. But how can you when you're bored, you're sitting there, you're listening to music, and you're probably browsing through your phone, and it just so happens you're probably on Instagram, and you're seeing all these beautiful faces on Instagram, but then when you put your phone down and you look around and you don't really see your reality matching what you're seeing on your phone, you kind of start to feel like, man, this place isn't really as lit. Not to mention, DC has this culture where people like to get a drink, and they just like to just sit around and mingle and talk, but no one really dances. You see like people bopping and stuff like this, but you don't really see like that real like authentic turn up happening no more. And it don't really feel like the type of environment where you just want to start going around and mingling and talking to a lot of people. I don't know, fellas. And this is the part where I feel like I need the fellas to say something in the comments, because I don't think that the women are really understanding or hearing us. It's like, what is it about our culture? And I'm gonna say, when I say the culture, I mean like the black culture, where it seems like a lot of people are getting really comfortable with, instead of working on themselves, they're just kind of like adapting to what's going on in their life now. And for example, let me not sugarcoat it. A lot of people just out of shape. A lot of people are getting out of shape. They're hitting that wall where their metabolisms are slowing down. People are getting a little chunky. Their clothes not fitting the way they used to fit. And it's just not really giving us what it used to give about 10 years ago. And once again, I know I sound super shallow, but if you're a guy who has his stuff together, who doesn't have kids, who's single, and you're here in the city, you don't really want to just settle for anything. You feel like you've achieved something in life that's not a normal thing. So you kind of want higher than normal or above average type of woman when you're out here in these streets. Let's just be real. And so when you go to these events, when you go to these clubs, I think in the back of our minds we're all thinking, damn, we want that baddie. You know, everybody want a baddie right now. And when you look around, you realize there's not really that many. Well, there's really not any baddies. Or what in your mind you've been programming yourself to think is a baddie, because you've been in your phone and scrolling Instagram and you see all these women that you think are in reach, but in reality it's not really in your reach. In your real reality here in DC, people are mid. Now, one thing I can say that also I think is kind of weird, but it's the truth, is the fact that I feel like the average man will talk to the average woman. But I also feel like, on the flip side, the average woman, they don't want to talk to average men. They want above average men. So this is the part where I gotta speak on the women. You can see it on the women's face that they're all there for the same thing. They all want validation. They all want to feel attractive, and they all want to feel like they're worth your time and effort for you to come and speak to them first and say something first, maybe offer to get a drink, blase, just do the courteous thing. I get it, women. It's what has been normal in our culture for decades. But in 2025, our standards might just be kind of elevating a little bit. Because we see what is possible out there on our phone screens, we're all thinking, man, I want a baddie. You know what I'm saying? I deserve a baddie. I work hard, this and that. I want to give everything I've created or everything I've built to someone who I feel like deserves it. Someone who I feel like who's a queen and all that stuff. But then when you go out to these clubs, you don't really see it. Now look, I walked around the club, okay? I did a walkthrough. I wanted y'all to see what everyone is seeing. Fellas, y'all let me know how many baddies did y'all see as I walked around. I tried to get everybody. It was a little dark, but if you pause the video at different moments as I'm showing you guys the club atmosphere, what do y'all really see? Do y'all see a bunch of women who you would want to talk to? So let's be real. Maybe the club atmosphere in general maybe needs to change, or something has to give, because we as guys are just not feeling that extra thing. And maybe we all just need a break from social media or something. I'm trying to figure it out. Maybe we need a break from social media, because maybe we need to start to admire each other for who we really are in real actual life. Because we're all looking at these ridiculously unattainable people on social media, and we're all having these higher expectations, and it's just not fitting the real world. That's what I'm seeing. So when we all go out, it's like everyone's like, oh, okay, this is cool. I'm vibing. I'm gonna talk to my homeboy, or I'm gonna talk to my homegirls. But when's the last time you just seen someone that just made you just feel stuck? Like, dang. I mean, men and women. When's the last time y'all seen someone that just made you be like, dang, like, I gotta say something to this person, or dang, that's the one for sure. I know for a fact this is the person I need to speak to. It's rare. And honestly, I feel like that's what happened tonight at ZOOZ. There was a lot of people around the bar, you know, but there's also one other thing I gotta speak on. I didn't really film this, but I do want to speak on it because I know there's a couple people in the city who watch me. So just in case the person that I'm about to speak about sees this video, let me say this. Women, we get it. We know y'all want to be married. We know y'all want relationships. We know y'all want to start a family. But it doesn't give y'all the excuse to be as aggressive as y'all are out here. Man, I was at the bar, right? And when I first got there, there was this group of girls that clearly had already been there for like an hour or so. And they were very drunk. Like 2 or 3 out of the clique. It was probably about 7 or 8 women all together. 2 of them were so drunk that one of the girls ended up falling into the wall, hit her head, which was crazy. The other girl was like dancing on every guy she saw, touching and feeling on people. I was sitting at the bar. I had just got there. I had been there for maybe about 10 minutes. And she was already like trying to touch me from behind my shoulders and stuff like that. And I was just like, look, I get it. Y'all are having a good time. But, you know, I'm not even showing you any type of energy that I'm interested in you. But you feel like you're comfortable enough to be able to touch me, which is something that also made me feel uncomfortable. And once again, I just got there. I wasn't really attracted to the girl like that, and she's touching me and stuff, so that made it a little extra kind of cringe. And it also made me feel a little angry on the inside, because I'm like, dang, like, if men acted like this, if I was just to go in the club, get drunk, and start feeling on women, like, I'd get tossed out, you know, I would get publicly shamed. I might not even be able to come back to the club. I might get kicked out. Some other dude might stand up for you and want to fight me. You know, all this might happen from a woman me being aggressive with a woman, flirtation and touching on her and stuff like that. But it's like, there was no shame. Man, we need to bring back shame back in DC. Not just DC, in just the dating world in general. We need to bring back the shame. So when I got touched on, I was like, bro, I really contemplated leaving. But I was like, I still want to make content here. So I ended up getting up from my seat and I went around to the bar. I went around the bar and sat in a different seat. So ladies, if that's you, if you're the type of woman that's being super aggressive, you don't got to do that. Trust me. If there's a guy that's interested in you, for real, he'll come up to you. Don't get it twisted. Guys are not afraid. Trust me. In DC, in the nightlife, when it comes to dating, men are not afraid to talk. We are just in general not just simply seeing anything that we really truly feel like it's worth our time to talk to, and that's making us just be like, I'm gonna pause on that right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have a good time. I'm gonna get my drinks, listen to some music, and then I'm gonna probably roll up out of here and then go watch TV. Cause that's what me and my homeboy just did. We was there till about 8:39, and then it was like, all right, you know, I was here, smoked a lot of hookah, but now it's time to just go home and relax. I don't even feel the need to really go back outside, even though I could. It's still kind of early. I mean, so with that said, let me just say this. It is a shame that the nightlife isn't what it used to be anymore, and I don't really know the direction that everything is starting to go here in DC. But what I can say is, I just feel like there's a couple things going on. There's an X factor that we're missing. I mean, social media is just really not what it is no more. And then on top of that, you know, DC is also a cold place. It's starting to get cold, so people can't really dress as sexy as they probably want to, or as cute as they want to as far as women goes. And maybe us guys were having a hard time seeing that maybe y'all do got the courage. Maybe y'all really are cute, but it's just the culture here is just the fashion, the non-dancing, the getting a drink, and everything feeling like it's a networking event all the time. It's just not a good mixture for actually finding people. I already made a video about this. Fellas, you're not going to find anybody in the club. You're not going to find your wife. You're not going to find your girlfriend. And you're barely even going to find a one-night stand, to be honest with you. I think it just might be time out for all of us going out like that, or maybe something needs to change in general before things get better. Now, ZOOZ, in general, hands down, I do like the club. It had a lot of space. There was plenty of places to sit down. It was a nice long bar. There's enough bartenders for you to actually get service and stuff like that. And the decor there is definitely very nice. Very, very nice. They even had an electronic like violin player that was playing music with the DJ, which was dope. I couldn't get her. She left before I was able to get her from my bar. But just in general, the nightlife here is just mid right now. And I've just been showing y'all. I'm just trying to show y'all what it is. But y'all let me know what y'all think. What has been y'all experiences? These are just the experiences that I'm showing you guys. I know a lot of guys in the comments keep asking me, where are the baddies, Corey? Where are the baddies? Well, look, I'm outside in all kind of different places. From festivals to actual clubs to just random events. And I don't know. I don't know where they are. Let's just be real. I'm looking for them. If y'all have any suggestions of where you think I should go next that maybe don't fit what I'm telling you guys, and maybe I'll change my mind, or I could be able to show the world something totally different, then y'all let me know in the comments. But as of right now, the nightlife here in DC is just mid. And it just is what it is. Hopefully it'll change some.
Little nightlife going on. My Uber just pulled up. Let's talk about what's going on, man. It's crazy.